For most of human history, there were no schools, no classrooms, no homework, no report cards, no parents asking if you'd finished your math assignment. If you were an ancient child living 30,000 years ago, your education looked completely different. Because nobody sat you down to teach you about survival. You learned by living it. And by the time you reached your teenage years, you already knew skills that most modern adults wouldn't survive a week without. That sounds unbelievable today. After all, we usually imagine prehistoric children spending their days playing while the adults did all the important work. But the evidence suggests something very different. Ancient children weren't preparing for adulthood. They were already helping their tribe survive. Let's imagine you're 8 years old. The sun hasn't risen yet. The fire from last night is still glowing. Adults are already awake. Some are preparing to hunt, others are collecting tools, and you're not sleeping in. You have work to do. Not because your parents are strict, because everyone contributes. Now here's something surprising. Ancient childhood was probably much more independent than childhood today. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies often observe children wandering surprisingly far from adults. They climb trees, explore streams, catch insects, practice throwing sticks, build tiny shelters. At first glance, it looks like play. But look closer. They're practicing survival. Every game teaches something. Throwing stones improves hunting accuracy. Climbing develops balance and strength. Tracking animals teaches observation. Building miniature camps teaches problem solving. Nobody announces today's lesson. The lesson simply happens. Modern children often learn through explanation. Ancient children learned through experience. If you wanted to know which berries were safe, you followed someone who already knew. If you wanted to learn how to make a spear, you watched, copied, failed, tried again. Education wasn't separated from life. Education was life. Now let's talk about chores, because this is where many people underestimate just how important children were. By the age of 6 or 7, many children could already gather edible plants, collect firewood, carry water, watch younger siblings, help prepare food. None of these jobs sound extraordinary, but together they made the entire group more efficient. Children weren't simply mouths to feed. They were valuable members of the community. Now here's something fascinating. Ancient children probably played far more than we imagine, but their games looked different. Instead of toy kitchens, they copied real cooking. Instead of plastic tool sets, they carved miniature spears. Instead of pretending to hunt, they hunted small animals like birds, rabbits, fish, or lizards. Play wasn't separate from work, it was practice. Researchers studying hunter-gatherer societies often notice children inventing games that closely resemble adult activities. Not because adults force them to, because children naturally imitate the people they admire. Children still do exactly the same thing today. They pretend to cook, pretend to drive, pretend to be doctors. Ancient children pretended to be hunters, gatherers, toolmakers, parents. Their games simply reflected a different world. Now here's another important difference. There probably wasn't a sharp line between childhood and adulthood. Today we celebrate birthdays, turn 16, turn 18, graduate from school. Ancient humans likely experienced a much more gradual transition. Every year you became capable of doing a little more. Carrying heavier loads, learning harder skills, joining longer hunting trips. Eventually, nobody had to announce that you were an adult. You simply became one. Now let's talk about learning, because ancient children had to memorize an astonishing amount of information. Which plants were poisonous, which mushrooms could kill you, where animals migrated, how weather changed with the seasons, where water could still be found during droughts. None of this existed in books. Everything lived inside human memory. Mistakes weren't bad grades. Sometimes they were fatal. Knowledge wasn't abstract, it kept you alive. Now here's something many people never consider. Ancient children didn't learn from just their parents. They learned from everyone. Grandparents shared stories. Older siblings demonstrated skills. Experienced hunters corrected mistakes. Gatherers explained edible plants. A child might have dozens of teachers without anyone officially being called a teacher. Now here's where archaeology gives us fascinating clues. Researchers have discovered tiny footprints preserved beside adult footprints at prehistoric sites. Children walked where adults walked. At ancient cave sites, children's handprints appear beside those of adults. Some archaeologists believe children even helped create cave art. Imagine standing inside a cave illuminated only by firelight. Adults painting animals across the walls, children watching carefully, eventually adding their own marks, learning not through lectures, but through participation. Now let's talk about something every child understood: stories. Long before writing, stories carried knowledge. Which animals were dangerous? Which places were sacred? How the tribe survived difficult winters? Why certain traditions mattered? To modern ears, they sound like myths. To ancient children, they were textbooks. Stories helped people remember information across generations. Now here's something surprising. Ancient children probably laughed just as much as modern children. They played jokes, played games, made friends, argued with siblings, got curious about everything. Archaeologists have even discovered what appear to be prehistoric toys. Tiny carved animals, miniature tools, little figurines. Childhood has always included imagination. Of course, ancient childhood wasn't easy. Children faced diseases, injuries, predators, harsh weather. Many never reached adulthood. Life could be brutally unfair. We shouldn't romanticize it. Modern childhood is safer in countless ways. But there's something remarkable about how ancient children grew up. Responsibility came early, not because adults wanted children to grow up faster, because survival depended on everyone contributing what they could. So what did ancient children do all day? The honest answer is almost everything. They gathered food, collected firewood, watched younger children, practiced hunting, played games, learned stories, copied adults, explored forests, asked questions, made mistakes, and slowly became the next generation of people capable of keeping the tribe alive. The classroom was the landscape. The teachers were everyone. And every single day brought another lesson. The next time you see children pretending to cook, build forts, or explore the outdoors, remember something. Those instincts are ancient, long before schools, long before books, long before homework. Children were learning exactly the same way humans had learned for hundreds of thousands of years, by watching, by doing, and by turning play into the skills they would one day need to survive. History didn't begin with kings, or empires, or written words. It began with ordinary people trying to survive. If you'd like to keep exploring their world, subscribe and join us for the next story. Because every question about the past reveals something about who we are today.